me show you how to make this elegant bolero, a short versatile vest you can wear over anything and look great. You're going to need 3 skeins of yarn. I'm using the color aquamarine. It is a medium weight 100% acrylic worsted yarn, and a size 5mm hook and a button of your choice. We're going to start with the back panel. Okay, let's begin. We begin by making a slip knot. To make a slip knot, take your 2 fingers, just wrap it around like that. That takes it crossed in the back. Take this end, tuck it through. Gives us a nice little loop. And we take our crochet hook and we insert it. We move our fingers and we pull. That makes our slip knot, and now we're ready to do some chain. Chain 48 for medium or 60 for a large size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've chained 48. Now add 2 for your turnaround. And now we're going to start our first row. Our first row is just going to be single crochets all the way down the line. So let's insert a crochet hook into the second chain from the hook and do our single crochet. So it means yarn over, pull through, shove 2 on, yarn over, pull through 2. So again, the single crochet goes like this. Insert your crochet hook into the loop, yarn over, pull through once, 2 on, yarn over, pull through 2. So we're going to keep doing our single crochet into every single loophole all the way to the end. And I'll meet you when I get there. Okay, so I've come near the end. I have 1 more left right here to finish the row. And I'm just going to tighten this part. Now this was our slip stitch where we started. So now we're going to turn our work around and we're ready to begin. So to begin, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to put double crochet into the 4th space from the hook. So if you look, the first one is occupied by our chain 3. Then we have the 2 empty ones, and then we have the 4th one. So that's where you want to crochet into, and we're going to do a double crochet. So if you look under, there's the little V's. You want to go right under those V's and get your hook in there and do your double crochet. Ready? So let's yarn over to do a double crochet. We yarn over, insert our crochet hook under the V, yarn over, pull through. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So that's a double crochet. So we want to do 2 more in here for a total of 3. So yarn over, insert into the same space, 3 on, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 on, yarn over, pull through 2. So 1 more double crochet. Yarn over, insert into the same space, yarn over, pull through, 3 on, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 on, yarn over, pull through 2. So we did 3 double crochets into the space. Now we're going to chain 2. So 1, 2, and now we're going to put 3 more double crochets into the same space to form our cluster. So that's 1 double crochet, and this is our 2nd double crochet, and this will be our 3rd double crochet. So this makes a little cluster that looks like this. And now we have to skip 5. If you look at the top, you will see the V's. The easiest way is to count the V's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And into the 6th V right there is where we want to put another cluster. Okay, so yarn over, 3 double crochets. 1 into the same space, right? 2, 3, chain 2, oops, it's 1, 2, and now 3 more into the same space. That's 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so keep doing this till you get to the end of the row. Again, look at your V's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into the sixth one right here is where I want to put my cluster. So keep doing this till we get to the end of the row, and I will see you. So you can see I'm come near the end, and you should have 1, 2, 3 spaces left. We're skipping 2, and into the third one we want to put in a double crochet. So always under the V's. So here we are, 1 single double crochet, and that completes this row. That's how your row should look like. So now we're going to turn our work over, and this is now repeating pattern till we get the desired length. So we're going to start off with chaining 3. 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to put in a cluster on top of each of these. So if you look at these in between, that's what we did our chain 2 in between. So up here on all the peaks is where we want to put in our clusters. So ready? 2, 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and another 3. So now you can see how much easier it is to put that in, because now we have a big space and we have a place to see them that are very clear. Okay, so that's one cluster. Okay, so now we're moving on to the top. So here, now we put in a cluster here, and then here, and then here. So keep doing that till you get to the very end of the row. So I'm coming near the end. I did my last cluster, and here you can see this is where we chained up. So you always finish this row on top of these chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. So on top of here is where you want to put in a double crochet. So let's find our V. And always over 2. Don't ever put it over 1, because if you put it over 1, it's gonna pull like this. Then you'll have a big loop. So always find 2. There it is. It's right above this one, our third chain. So this is where we want to put in our double crochet. There, and that completes this end. Now we turn our work over, and now it's always the same thing as we just did. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and put in a cluster here, all the way to the end. And when I get to the very end, I'm going to put a double crochet right there on top of my chain 3. Turn my work around, chain 3, repeat. So in the back, it's going to look like this. So it just comes under the blades. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create just this little part right here. So it has a little bit of shape, one on this side and one on that side. I did 14 rows. So 1, 2, 3, and we're going to make 1, 2, 3, just these 3. Okay, so let's put in our cluster. So we did our 3 clusters, and now we have to anchor these. We got to bring it down. So to do that, I'm just going to do a single crochet into here. So this is in between the ridges. So I'm just going to go in here and do a single crochet, and that should bring it down. So there. Now I'm going to turn my work over, and I want to build up on that. But what I want a nice slow gentle curving up. So I'm just going to go into the first V, and now we're going to slip stitch 1, slip stitch into the second one, and slip stitch 1 more, because remember we had the 3 double crochets, and now we reach the middle part, and that creates a nice little slope going up. And now I'm going to put in my cluster right there at the top. It just creates a nice little going up is what we want to do. So now we're going to put in a cluster here and a cluster here. And of course at the end we do our double crochet. And now we're going to turn our work around, and we'll go one more time. Okay, so let's chain our 3. 1, 2, 3, and let's put in 3 more clusters at the very top. Okay, so I did my third row, and this is how it looks like when it's finished. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to anchor it to the top of this one, my last chain here. So I'm just going to slip stitch to join. So I'm just going to look for my V here. There it is, and just going to slip stitch to join. That's it. Now I'm going to cut my yarn. My yarn, and then of course yarn over and pull through, and that completes this side like that. Now we're going to repeat on that side. So I'm going to flip this over. So what I want to do is I want to continue with my chain up here, so I'm going to insert at the very top, which is right here, my crochet hook. I'm going to pick up my yarn. I'm just going to grab a little edge of it like that. I'm going to pinch it, make a little eye, just feed it through there, pull it through and hold both ends, the yarn and the end with my hands. I'm going to yarn over both, yarn over and pull through and pull it tight, and that should secure it on. Let go of my tail, and now I'm just going to pick up my yarn. I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to go ahead and put 3 clusters. 1, 2, 3, and then of course repeat the same process as we did on the other side till we get to the very top. So now the back is done. Let's work on our front. First, let's measure about halfway, which is there, and that's the measurement you want. So if you take that and if you count it. Okay, so I marked it where it is, and now I count. So if you count this, this would be 6. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6 times 6 is 36. So I'm going to begin by making 36 chain. Okay, so if you look at that, you'll see that my chain goes exactly from here to the end. And now, just like before, we add 2 for the turnaround. Okay, and now we do single crochet all the way along. So second from the hook, so it's the first, that's the second. Insert a crochet hook through here and do a single crochet. And now we do a single crochet into every stitch all the way to the end of the row. So just like before, we turn our work around. Okay, now we chain 3, and we're going to put our stitch into the 4th space from the hook. So if you look at it, the first one is occupied by a chain 3, the second and third are empty, and the 4th one under the V is where we want to put in our cluster. So that's 1, and that's 2, and that's my 3rd one. Now we chain 2 and 3 more, so 1 and 2 and 3, so that forms our cluster. And now we skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into the 6th space is where we want to put in our cluster. So you want to keep doing that till you get to the end of the row. So I did my last one. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I am just finishing off. So I'm skipping 2, 1, 2, and into the 3rd one, there's my V. I want to put 1 double crochet there. Okay, and turning around, and now we're going to do the same thing as we did before, and chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now put in a cluster here and here and all the way till you get to the very end, and then do single, then do 1 double crochet at the end. Turn your work around and repeat. So I did 7 rows, and on the 8th row I stopped. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to stop with the last cluster, and just wanted to show you that. Okay, So now what I want to do is I want to make it nice and even, and all I have to do now is fasten it onto this last space. So I'm just going to put in 1 double crochet there. Just like we finish usually the row, we're going to finish it but hook it onto there. We're going to turn our work over and we're going to chain 3, and now we're going to put in a cluster here and here and here all the way to the end. Then of course our double crochet, then turn around and I'll meet you when I get to the last cluster. Okay, so I did my one this way and that way, and okay, so now I'm just going to do a double crochet in here, just at the very top. And there we go, ends that. Now I'm going to turn it around, do chain 3, and of course now do my cluster here, 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 and then come back and I'll meet you when I get here. Okay, so I went this way and came back, and now I'm going to just fasten it with a single crochet because I want to take it down to 3 clusters. There, and that finishes this row. I'm going to turn my work around and I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now put in my clusters here, and then turn around and do another 3 here, and I'll come back when I finish doing that. Okay, so I'm coming around. This is my 3rd one. So here I want to finish a complete cluster because now I'm working on the strap, right? Because we want to leave it 3 clusters thick. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then of course we have to. Okay, so let's put in our double crochet there. There, and we turn it around. So we keep going doing this for the next couple of rows. I did a total of 7 rows. So joining the sides together, front to back. So see where we did a chain 3 on each side? That's where we want to go into our first joining stitch. And so just pick up your yarn, and there'll be no chaining this time. We're simply going to slip stitch to join. So we're just going to insert it where the top of our chain 3 was on the other side. We're going to yarn over and pull through and chain 1. Now I'm going to slip stitch till I get to 1 before this. So 1, 2, we're just going to slip stitch on the inside panel only. So insert under the 1V and slip stitch, and into the 2nd V and slip stitch. So now we have 1 before our hole, and then 1 after, and this is where we want to join. So we're going to go in here, 1 before our hole, and we have to match. So if you go 1, 2, this is the 3rd one before our hole on this side. So we're going to go under here, and we're going to slip stitch to join, and now we reach our hole in the middle. So we're going to go straight in here and straight into the hole on the other panel and slip stitch to join, and then 1 right after. And this is my first one right after, in here and in here, and we're going to slip stitch to join. Now we're just going to slip stitch the next 2 to complete this one on the inside panel only. So we're just going to go over to 1V and the 2nd one, or the 3rd one should I say, and now we're starting the new cluster. So this is our first V on the first cluster, our 2nd V, and on the 3rd one we're going to go under and connect. So now we find our 2nd little cluster on this side, and there it is, and this is the one just before our hole. So we're going to go under there, and we're going to slip stitch to join, and now into the middle and into the middle, slip stitch to join, and the one right after, and the one right after on the other panel, and slip stitch to join. Okay, so now we're going to go again 2 down and 2 up, doing just on the inside panel. That's 1, that'll be the 3rd. Okay, so now the 1, 2 on this side, and the one just before, we're going to go in here, find it on the 3rd one in here, and slip stitch to join. Now into the big hole, slip stitch to join, and the one right after, slip stitch to join. Okay, and now the next two, we're just going to go on this panel only. So that's one, and that's two, and now we get to the top of our chain two on the third one. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert our crochet here, and we're going to, so on this inside we have to chain two because it did not have the chain that we did on the outside. This is the inside. So I'm just going to take it to the top of my cluster. If you look at this, you'll see this was the top we did. So at the bottom of this cluster, which is right there, is where I'm going to slip stitch to join. So now we're slip stitch to join, cut our yarn, yarn over and pull through. So this is how it looks like when it's joined together. Now that we have this panel attached, let's build the second one, and then we'll attach it when it's done. Okay, so it looks something like this. So I did both panels, I connected the tops, but now we just have to do the sides. Okay, so it should overlap like this nicely. So right now what we want to do is we want to make space for the arms. So the way you can measure it if you like, but I did put this on and I found that if I go straight line from there to there, that's perfect. So this would be my 7 hole, and I put a little bit of a different colored thread. Just going to put it in here, and that just makes it easier for me to sew. So now I'm going to sew this up. My marker here, and I can see everything's lined up. Check all my holes, it's perfect. Okay, so first thing I want to do is see where this end, this chain, there's a space right there. I'm going to insert my crochet hook here and find it on this side. It's not the space, it's the one on the chain or just the first row. So right there. So take your yarn and just pinch an eye in it. So yarn over, pulling through, holding both ends. I'll pull through. Okay, so I want this super secure, so I'm going to go through it one more time because this is the very end. There, and that's done. So now I'm going to just let go of my tail and pick up my yarn, and I'm going to sew along the side. To do that, I want to go into the one just before it, just before our hole, right there. Go in here, and I'm just going to slip stitch. First hole, it's right there. So we're going to go in here into the big hole, and we're going to yarn over, pull through, and do a single crochet. Okay, so now you see it's consisting of this little bridge and a big hole, little bridge and a big hole. So we're going to go into this little bridge and the little bridge on the other side and do our single crochet. And now into the big hole and do our single crochet. And so on till you get to the marker. Okay, so we're almost near the end here, so we're just going to go into the big hole, do our single crochet into the bridge, which is kind of tied together. Okay, and this is where we end. So I'm going to just remove my marking and put my last stitch in here. Cut my yarn over, and pull through. So now that this panel is done, we're ready to do the other panel, but make sure you work on the outside of it because on the back it's going to look like this. So if I go like this, I'm going to get the nice sculpture end on the inside but not on the outside. So I'm going to have to turn it around and work this way. And again, I'm going to mark mine on the 7th. So this time I'm just going to repeat the same thing, but only I'm going to insert my hook right in here. Okay, and work your way all the way to the end, and I'll show you how I finish it. And there it is on the other side. And because it's the very end, I always do double whenever I'm doing that. And now just cutting the yarn. yarning over and pulling through. And that finishes our sewing. Now that we're finished sewing the sides, as you can see, what we're going to do is sew in the loose ends. Okay, let's weave in our loose ends. If you have a smaller size crochet hook, please use it. Any smaller size will do. If you don't, this one will do just fine. I have a smaller size, I'm just going to use this one. It just makes it easier for weaving in. So when you're working in the loose ends, you can see this is the right side, and then there's, which is the outside, and there's the inside. Make sure you work on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to pull my loose end in. I'm turning this around, so I'm now on the back end. Okay, and I want to take it to the nearest cluster area there. So this one was easier because this one I have, look at all these to work with. Perfect. It's going to be hidden in there. So I'm just going to yarn it over, and if you can't do it through all, do it a few at a time. Don't try to go all at once because it never works out. 3, unless you have a crochet needle. And the following 3. And here we go. It's a lot easier if you have a crochet needle. Now when you let it go, it disappears. Place your button on the left side of your vest on the outside and feed your thread through the inside. So if you have a crochet needle, you can sew it on that way. If not, use your crochet hook, or you can just use your hands. Now that the button is sewn on, we're going to make a little chain so we can fasten it. Make a slip knot, and we want to cast on some chain, and I found that 16 works perfect for me, so I'm going to put in 16 chains. 1, 2, 3. So I put in my 16, and now I'm just going to cut my yarn, and I'm ready to fasten. Now we're ready to join. Simply feed one end through, and then you want to join your front to your back just by putting your crochet hook into your last stitch or first stitch, and then yarning over and pulling through both, and now yarn over and pull through. Now put the double knot in. This way just secures it even more, which is what I find around the fasteners. And then cut your yarn, and it's done. The nice thing about these, if it ever gets worn out, and they do, is so easy just to cut it off and just go ahead and make another one. And we are done.